All right. Welcome back, everyone. This is part 3 of my... I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but I think I'm heading towards the end of this. But this is part 3 of my little bit of brush hair there. Part 3 of my Fist of the b0rf Star ED painting series. This is a project that was asked of me by Dan Generuni to make 2 different EDs for his b0rf Star Reanimated series. I'm working on the first one, and this is almost coming to a close. So, and the second will be different, obviously. But this is painting number 3. Oh, and also a little quick introduction. My name is CF, and but on Twitch I'm often called Kralos by the lads who show up and enjoy what I do there. So either or. But getting back to this, so this is painting number 3 for this ED, and I think I need to adjust the angle a little bit so it's more centered. There we go. That's better. So yeah, ED. This is painting number 3. I managed to finish the other 2. I'm still kind of pressing them right now, so they're nice and flat. But they're looking good now, actually. But this is what the first 2 look. You people saw this one recently, and then this was this weekend's. So yeah, and now this is number 3. And the thing for this one that I'm gonna do. Sorry if I sound a little far away. I am from the mic, but so the color scheme. So what I'm trying to do is that each color scheme be a little bit different. The first 2 is like a cold and then a warm color scheme. More like I think I showed my wife the second one. She said that she really likes the pink one, as she says, even though the pink one's violent. Coffee sip there. But for this one, I want to go with a more gray because it's literally Lyman on the beach after like this battle, it looks like. So, and I'm going to be switching between my 2 smaller brushes. I think for the sky I might add a little bit more darkness up here. I might. But for now, for these details, these shadows, I'll be switching between my number 10 and my little tiny came with the thing brush. Oh, hey Terumo, where's the funny chat? Alright, you're looking at it. Also wait, do you mean chat like the chat, or do you mean the cat? Because the funny cat, he just whooped some ass with on the last painting. But this is about the man who was in charge of Odie and John, essentially. Let's see. Now, I'm trying to see how I'm gonna do this. So I think, like I said, this is gonna be more gray. Kind of a greenish gray almost. I kind of want to go with this kind of greenish gray. So I'm going to be using a lot of Prussian blue for this. What did my first message show? I can see your first message right there, man. I think it's just because the chat is slow on your end. Oh, your first message? Let me see. That's a good question. I don't know why your first message didn't show up, Terumo. Weird. Okay, so now... Also, what have you been up to, Terumo? While you type that up, I'm gonna do this. Alright, cool. It's weird how this is the second time I've added like a busted up car in one of these. I think it's just I just wanted to like drive home the fact that this is really like a bad time. Like they're taking the drink. Oh boy, Tarumo. What time is? Well, I guess you're an adult, so I can't really tell you not to drink. But come on, lad. If that's the case, though, what are you drinking, though? If you don't mind me asking. Gonna do a little bit more shadows here. I don't want, like, the thing about sand is that I don't want to like ruin the sand coloring here. Also, these are going to be some soft shadows, so that's the other thing too. I'm going to add a little bit more of this golden ochre. Yellow ochre. Oh, you know, that's the other color I use a lot on with like earth tones, like the gold, like the top earth tones, like the 6 colors you should ever, or really 7 colors you should ever own for like a painting kit. Ooh, Gekkeikan plum wine. You know, I've always wanted to try plum wine. I have never gotten around to it, but I've had sake before in my fridge, and I would make sake screwdrivers for myself all the time. So, but so the other colors I've talked about putting in your painting kit, like I said, I was taught that you want to use stuff like you always want to have like alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, and ultramarine blue, or ultramarine, and you want to have yellow ochre, burnt umber, burnt sienna, and then I guess if you had to have white, you should have titanium white. And I don't know why for watercolor kits we have a Chinese white. So playing a heist, Louis the 13th cognac. My God. Now, about Louis the 13th cognac, though, how good of a cognac is it if you have to steal it? I'm guessing pretty good. Or is that your code name? All right, so I'm just fleshing out the color here for that. Honestly, this yellow ochre color, along with the Prussian blue, I think is a pretty good move. It's like a greenish gray that I like. Go, yeah. Every time I think I say that, like, there we go, yeah. I always think of that one scene from Adventure Time, and like the first season when, I think it's the first season, when we meet like Ricardio, the Ice King's heart that escapes, and like tries to get all cool with the Candy Kingdom, and everybody finds out he's just like finds out the awful truth about him. He's voiced by George Takei, which by the way is a very good choice, I think. I put in most of the shadows with some of the gray here earlier, but it's always a fun move to do. I'm not gonna lie, I think being away, this is a little meta here, but I think being away, like, I think splitting my streaming time between Twitch and YouTube, I think is is not a bad move in my opinion. Because I think like when I stream on like I stream on Twitch on the weekends, on my weekends really, so Friday and Saturday. But then like if I'm doing stuff like this during the week, if it urges me, I'll go in and start and do stuff like this here. 750 ml goes for whoa, wow, $4,000. And how did you learn about this wine or this cognac, Turumo? Because that's a hefty price tag. Whereabouts did you learn of this wine? Because honestly, if you're thinking about getting that, also it helps. It comes in a crystal bottle, so crystal meaning like crystal glass, like the fancy, like not silverware but like drinkware, like the really expensive kind of glass, the crystal glass. Because if that's the case, man, that's crazy. Yeah, there we go. Nice. It's literally sitting behind a glass box in Sam's in a Sam's Club. Okay, now I would love to see. Actually, you know what? I would love to see a story. I would love to see this kind of story of people who plan expensive heists, but they're kind of low stakes. As in, like the idea that like these heists are being planned by people who are stealing the most expensive items at like local grocery stores or something. That'd be funny. Because I think the because like there is like a genre of what do you call it of like crime movies about like the low stakes crime um people, criminals, like they only go for like the smaller stuff that like might not even be worth it to like report, I think the low stakes criminal stories need to be the next kind of stories we touch on. That'd be a fun thing to do, or see rather. Yeah, okay. So now, is this kind? I think the one bugbear I think for this painting is that it's like I'm now going into the simple and like to the simple, um, into like the more, I guess I don't want to say easier, but like the more simplified, um, like painting. Like the ones before it were easier to do. I mean, were harder to do because of the amount of characters and background. But this is like literally just like a beach and a dude standing around with like two more objects in it. It's like such an easy painting. I almost feel bad for even like having this here, or not having it here, but I feel bad about okay, yeah, I just kind of feel a little bad about it because it's just like I'm gonna finish this so quickly. I have to, but also it helps me to think more about what like to include in here to kind of help it flesh out and not have it be so flat looking. I need to look up some reference photos for this background. I want to see how the cloudy, like, skyline should be. I always forget if I have to make dark top or make the horizon darker and then go lighter. Because I think I've seen it both ways. I think I've seen having things like, it's usually the way things kind of are is like you want to have things be darker in the forefront sometimes, and then have it be like lighter in the background to kind of make it recede, you know? Because like there's two ways of receding things. You either go light to dark or you go dark to light. But if it's light to dark, it's because you have like the lighting closest to the point of view, and it's usually for like darker rooms. Whereas like, not to imply how dark this world is, but if it's like the other way around, like I feel like it should be dark like here and then go light towards the middle. So what else depends on like what it looks like. Also, I don't know what it is about overcast beaches. They just kind of look cool. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up around too many of these like came with the frame photos, and then there are always these overcast New England looking beaches. But I always kind of think they're cool looking. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it actually maybe bothers me a little bit that I like it too much. But I don't know. Who knows? If you didn't know what this was for, you would have found me asking, is this Stephen Post Amethyst Breaking Pearl? Oh snap, that's a deep cut. Yeah. Here's the thing. Yeah, this is fuck Terumo. That is a good point, man. Um, damn, that's a good thing to get like. Steven isn't gone forever. He was here the whole time. Hey, here's a crazy theory: is Steven a Lyman in Fist of the b0rf Star? Did Steven change his name and grow up to be Lyman and escape his destiny? And realizing there were bigger things going on in the universe aside from the stupid gem colonization. And instead, like, he realized there were stronger things in the universe. Krallo stream. Oh, finally! This is the man I was hoping would show up. I've been missing you, Saber. I've been having all these streams on Twitch, and I know, bottom text. I know I've been having. I know you have problems using Twitch because it eats so much up. It eats data so much, so YouTube's a little easier on you. So I've been switching over to YouTube every now and again, during the week for this, at reasonable hours. But no, I was just bringing up. Terumo brought up an important fact here, or not important thing, but it is important. About how Lyman kind of looks like Steven looks like Steven Universe post Amethyst Breaks Pearl. He came back, but no, it's supposed to be Lyman. It's supposed to. This is here. I'll whip these out again. But Lyman, getting into Garfield lore here for a second, is supposed to be John's roommate. You missed the movie showcase and some Star Wars mumbo. Yeah, Saber. I've been every Friday. On Twitch. I've turned my stream into a movie chat. Damn, the Pearl Saga. Yeah, I know. No, so that's supposed. So this is supposed to be Lyman, John's roommate and Odie's original owner, and he's this guy right here. And as I've and the thing is like he like in my universe he's also the guy. I mean, you see him in the pre in like in that flashback that John has, or not flashback, in John's meditative state in the fifth, no, not the fifth, the sixth episode, seventh episode, the one where it's all classical paintings. He shows up as the Moses statue in John's meditative state, giving John the final 10 cheek to defeat, to reform Odie and defeat, uh, what's it, defeat Garfield once and for all. Um, so he essentially functions in this universe as John and Odie's master, as well as Garfield's the guy who's looking after Garfield as well, because he's got the power of the Lasaga star, which contradicts the b0rf star, whatever. So here's another picture of him. I think Danjin said this is his favorite drawing I've done for his ED. So, and then yes, the Pearl Saga. The only thing of SEO I was actually interested in. I don't blame you, because I remember one of the comments I had for the Pearl Saga when I was making it was this is way better than anything in the actual show. So, no, but yeah, so like Terumo said, I've been doing these movie chats. You've missed 2 installments. The first one was about a movie that Terumo suggested, that made me face the harsh realities of the Native American experience. And then the other one, last Friday's was me. I think Tav was the only one who watched it, who tuned in for the stream. But I made Tav watch a movie about a sex cult obsessed with car crashes, which is David Cronenberg's adaptation of the J.G. Ballard book Crash, and I talked about it was the most purposeful 18 plus conversation I've had, and then that evolved into me drawing Sonic and Baraka in a relationship, because then Danjin tuned in and we talked about other movie stuff. He had questions. We just talked about other movie stuff. It evolved into a whiteboard drawing stream. And then we decided on the next movie we're going to do on this Friday, hopefully. So, anyways, so I guess I'm going to just do dark. I'm going to do dark on top, and then kind of dark on top, darker up front here, and then just kind of recede it, Because I know, so far, all these other things here, this is, the shadows on Lyman here, are not that complex, so. I'm just adding a bit more color to this. Because I think the thing 2 for this is, the thing 1 and the thing 2 for this is, I need to also add a little bit more lines to it. It's funny, sometimes I look at, there are a few watercolor artists who work in watercolor that I kind of follow on Instagram, and I like to see I'll watch their reels or whatever they're called, or their short vids, and I'll see their approach to how they paint, and I realize how I don't know, I don't want to feel bad about my approach, because I think one thing that I think one thing that I've kind of slowly been accepting recently is the fact that, like, I think having you guys around to watch me do this stuff, especially, like, has actually kind of been a very positive thing for me. Because, you know, like, especially having, like, guys like Danjin and Tempu on my Twitch streams, no matter how late they are, show up and kind of, like, give their 2 cents about my artwork, as well as talk about, like, how, like, because I've talked to, like, plenty of times in the past, like, especially, like, on the streams, about how, like, I kind of don't like my b0rf art style, because it feels like it doesn't feel like it's my own, even though I've kind of made it work into my own, but it just feels like I'm just trying to ape Tetsuo Hara. But the more I keep working in it, the more I kind of it starts to evolve, you know. Because I also thought about this too, like whenever I, like, do kind of brief sketches just to kind of get the idea of, like, how a body should move or how to pose a body, I realize that, like, I'm definitely aping Hara's design, and it's definitely, like, a parody of his art style. But also, I realize, like, the more you do it, the more you just kind of, like, you kind of lean into certain things, like yeah, like, the characters have, like, these big man bodies, but also, the bodies I do are, like, a little exaggerated too. But also, I realize, like, there are certain things from other artists that creep their way into my, like, into the way I approach, the way I draw bodies. But the only thing I need to work on really is the way I draw ladies. And it's, funnily enough, like, I think yesterday I was doing some, like, whiteboard drawing practice, because it's a good thing to have to just, like, what do you call it? It's a good thing to have around to, like, do some quick sketches and then not have to keep a sketchbook. You just, you know, wipe it away and you're done. Is one thing I enjoy about it, though, is, like, if I don't like something, I can just stop and like, erase it. I don't have to have, like, these half-made drawings or whatever, you know. They feel like they can go away really easy. And I think I realized, like, there's this classical artist, not classical artist, but there's this artist from, like, it's like the earlier 20th century, who goes by Egon Schiele, and his whole art style is, like, very angular and, like, skinny and almost sickly. Like, the way he draws figures are always like they're kind of emaciated with, like, these kind of yellowish paper skin, kind of, they almost look like Frankenstein like, they look like creatures that Dr. Frankenstein or that Frankenstein would have made, you know. Like, they look like the description that for the creature that Mary Shelley wrote up for Frankenstein. It's very interesting. And it's what makes me think of it the most, because they have, like, this, he always paints them in, like, this kind of yellowish style, you know. Or they're always pale and sickly looking, and they're thin. So, might be too green. Yeah, it's too green. I think what I'm going to do, maybe change it to, maybe yellow ochre might not work for that. Or it might if I do. Let me try Prussian blue with a little bit of burnt sienna. Hold on, guys. Okay, I like that a little better. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, like, I realized that, like, the way I kind of, like, approach the way I draw muscles and limbs is very close to that dude's, like, style. And I didn't realize until, like, it kind of, like it became, like, a weird subconscious thing, you know. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how certain things like that creep in. Oh, and the other thing you kind of miss, Saber, too, is the fact that I talked about like stop motion and how I I really love it as a medium, and something that I wish I could I could do again for myself. Like, and it's something that like I said, like on the stream, like I started off talking about how I wish I could kind of go back, or not go back, but how I wish I could just kind of do everything I do in stop motion instead. But like I think the thing that's stopping me the most, I used to say it was like, oh, I don't have enough room for these spaces for to like build these sets, and um now I realize like it's more of a case of um, I guess it's now just more of a case of the reason I don't do it is because I'm kind of like it's less I don't have room. I could always make room. Like I had like the table I'm working on. I like that my copy stand is on. That helps me like shoot downward like this. I could always take this off and like use it as a place to put all my to build sets on, no matter because like I said, I mean, there's no like the whole idea of like there's not enough room. I don't have enough room to work with to like make something worthwhile or whatever is entirely silly ultimately because like you know if I wanted to I could there's no reason for me not to do it, you know. I have to want to do it first, like because like I said before, Lee Hardcastle started off like I think like just making like construction paper like rooms in like the corner of his apartment with like his clay figures. So like what like there's no reason for me not to do that. And like but again, the main reason I don't is because I realize that I'm just too lazy to want to build figures, to build the puppets and to build the sets and everything. Because like also like in regards to like this talk about building sets and all that, um, like I built a set like even if it was like minimalistic, for Terumo the musical, like famously, you know, like I built this like big. I bought like a bunch of like black poster board, cut it up to make this like blank background, and then like made these paper cutouts for these parts of the set. So it's not out of the question. It's just a matter of like dedication, really. You know, like I'm sure you Saber who has like made brick films and has like built like entire sets out of Legos. I assume, like or out of Lego. I assume like you like I'm sure this is something you can like relate to. But like it's usually an issue how can I make up enough space and properly light it up. But the laziness is also real. That's the thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the laziness like it's like I just lack the drive to do it. Like I love it as a medium. I love and like I said I think I realized part of the reason I love it as so much as a medium is because um I just like um I just also really what do you call it? I realize too I like the it kind of makes me feel like I'm playing with my action figures again as a kid. That's the other thing that I think comes out of it. Like it like touches on this like weird um like it I think it like touches on the like part of my child brain that just like loves playing with action figures, I think. So that's the other thing that I think about, like that makes me realize I really love stop motion because for me it just kind of feels like I'm playing with my old action figures again. Um, but like I said, it's just like my drive to have to want to actually like build sets and stuff, and like I'm not even so much worried about lighting either. It's like the thing that gets in my way. Like the laziness is real, like you said. And then like I've considered going back to cutout animations, but I like the thing that really gets in the way for me is the fact that like I have to either make a bunch of puppets for different angles, or make puppets for one shot that I want for the specific angle, or um, I have to adjust everything to this kind of flat, two-dimensional perspective, which has never really been my approach. There's a lot of great cutout animations out there, and I really enjoy all of them. But the way my approach to filmmaking and like visual storytelling, I don't think I could do the whole like flat characters on a flat background. It's a thing that like I cannot think in, because I feel like I would get boring and I wouldn't be able to like do a lot of dynamic things that I want to do. Like I've been doing stuff in like these different more cinematic angles for like so long that I don't think I could do like flat characters on a flat background, you know. That's also true. Most of the time it feels like I'm playing with them more than I'm animating them. Yeah, I mean, but that's also like, I think that's part of the fun though. Like I like the idea that this physical object exists, and also I realize that like I think the other thing that really kind of I think really drives home the other thing I like about stop motion is the fact that like I don't have to redraw every frame. There's no chance of a character looking off model because I didn't draw it correctly. Like it also I think like works as like a pill against my laziness in drawing, and as well as my own like feelings of inadequacy as someone who draws, you know. Like I don't have to focus on like whether or not that looks wrong, or I don't have to compare my art style to anyone else's, because like now the characters like exist as an object, you know. The only drawing I have to do is for storyboarding and character design. So I think that's the other thing. But then the other thing too, by the way, I'm just looking over to see. I think I'm going to add more to Lyman's cloak to make it look a bit more busted up and dirty. But the other thing too, I think, is I really, like I said, it's just like I don't have to draw as much. Like I just need to draw only the, like I said, the character designs and the storyboards, or even the backgrounds if I'm still using these kind of flat, drawn look. But yeah, it feels like I could kind of get away with like, I don't know, just escaping it. Because also I think in my brain, I kind of like I wanted to work with live action so much before, as like when I was, you know, when I was going to school for like filmmaking. Like I always kept my drawings and my live action filmmaking stuff separate. So that's the other thing that I think that also plays into this too. So like it's not until recently that I, like the last few years, I started using like drawn visuals for, you know, like doing pseudo animations essentially. And now here I am, you know. Because like I always, like I said, I kept my comics and my like filmmaking stuff separate, and that was always the goal. Like comics I would do maybe on the side when I couldn't do films. But also like I always kind of considered like films being the thing that I would want to do, like as like a main storytelling thing, you know. So the only thing with Lego is that making sets can lead to finding out all sorts of kind of techniques. You only build what the camera sees, so it doesn't matter what pieces are on the other side. Exactly. That's another thing I didn't even think about either. So thank you for that insight, Saber. Here's a question though about Lego, Saber. How do you like? Where do you fall? Like, have you heard about like the idea of like dirty Lego building, like using Lego to build sets in a way that is like not that is considered illegal or something? Like, maybe I'm talking about it the wrong way, but like I guess the idea of like using Lego in a non-standard way, like that was like that you wouldn't have used um if like the manual never said it. Like I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like the illegal use of certain blocks and like for certain things. You know, like is that have you heard of that yet? Because I think I've seen it like in a few like Lego related Instagram posts. I think about that. So I've never heard of it. Like you know, to be honest, I've never even really gave much attention to the idea of like Lego competitions. Even though I'm sure I would love to watch one. But I've seen a few like Lego related stuff. Forbidden tech. Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly it, Torumo. There are like from what I understand, there are forbidden techs in Lego building. Like you're not supposed to use like if you wouldn't have used it a certain way or like if I guess like I don't know, maybe Saber knows a bit more. Yeah, but like I think there are like illegal ways to use Lego. Like using the blocks in a way that like would not is not standard for their intended usage. Like you want to build according to like how the master brick builders would have built them themselves according to the Lego Bible. I get that. Sometimes you have to do what you need to do to get some pieces in the right place or making sure your set is sturdy. Yeah, so I mean, like, I think, because like I said, there's like, I've seen people like talk about like the illegal usage of certain pieces, and it's not, it's less, and it's more, it's less. I think it's less for sturdiness, and it's more for um, replicating a specific visual style. Like, I think I've seen one guy like essentially make like a stained glass window for like a Lego church he was making, and it was more based around this idea of like he's using like the little rubber tire stuff and like the clear like he like made like a little like brick pit or something, and then like filled it with all this junk, like like the little plastic tubes that you would put on like spacemen or something, or on like Bionicle pieces, like the Lego Technic pieces or Bionicle pieces, and like he put them inside of like a mirror of like a little like little what would become the stained glass window, and it like replicated it nicely, but also like some people would I assume would consider that illegal. I think he talks about it, so I don't know. But speaking about it, no, I think this is done. Like I said, this is. It didn't take me long to set in the color here, along with yeah, these like putting in the flat colors is kind of the easiest part for this thing. But it's weird how, or it's weird how quickly I knocked this one out. I'm a little disappointed that like well, I'm happy because I don't have to like work on this any longer and I can move on to the next one. But I'm a little bummed out that I didn't get to that this is the best that this is I got this done quickly. Um so damn, it's I didn't want to make this a short stream. I think yeah, those are fine with me. I'm not a purist in that sense. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I was gonna say I don't want to cut the stream too early. I think I want to at least like do this for another 15 minutes so I can at least say that I streamed for an hour. But man, I guess I'm gonna move this out of the way then. I gotta tape it down to something else so I can keep it I can keep it flat. But but going back about like the stop motion stuff, like I know I like if you were I talked about it to death on like my midnight stream on Saturday. Um, but like, yeah, like I said, it's nice to know that like, you know, you guys and people like Danjin really enjoy my art style for b0rf Star. But like the thing is too is just that I feel like it's also not a good like unless I had like a whole animation team, or I was gonna spend like as much as he's doing, working on b0rf. I'm gonna just start setting up for the next one, like he's been doing. Like I feel like that kind of art style works better in like a manga or something as opposed to what I do, you know? Like it's a difficult art style to do for animation is the problem. Unless you like adapted it like the same way, you know, the animated series or some of the OVAs have adapted it, so not now that now what I'm iffy about is if you go as far as you cut up a piece to get a certain effect. So here's the that's what I was gonna say. Like, oh, so like if you cut up Lego pieces to use for like a certain thing, huh? I've never even considered that because I don't think I've seen people like wreck Lego pieces for that for that for those kind of effects. That's really interesting. But I know that would certainly be an illegal move for sure. Like, I think especially in like Lego building competitions, I think if you're like gonna cut them up in like a like you said, I think that then it's bad. That would definitely get you disqualified. But I think if you're like but I think like, but also I think if you're like, I think people if you're if it's like a Lego building contest, I think the competitors know not to work that in that illegal way. Like there's like no way around. Like there's no way you would join a Lego building competition and not know like that you're not supposed to cut stuff up like that, because otherwise like, you know, otherwise what are you doing, you know? I think the other thing too is like, I think for like brick film though, I'm sure like the Lego purists would be upset about cutting up pieces for certain effects, but I think like you could like depending on the effect you're going for, I think you could probably get away with it if it's for strictly for brick filming. But then again, a lot of like the joy and fun of I think brick filming, from what I understand, is using like the pieces in a clever way, you know. Well, like for example, Saber, like if you were to do, if you were to recreate John Wick in brick like in brick film, would you, for the blood spatter, would you use like the little like a little red like a Lego dot like little like those little nubs, the ones that you, like sometimes like people will like paint gold, that are like come painted gold for like the ones that you usually put on, like they put on like the ends of like cars or something, or like even stormtrooper, like back then stormtrooper guns. Those like little like red, or not red, but like those like little like Lego nubs that sometimes are transparent. You know the ones. Like, I'm also against gluing pieces together. Yeah, because it's kind of like, I don't know what the point of like. I can see gluing pieces together as a way to preserve a piece, but like gluing pieces together, but like that also implies that like you're never gonna take it apart. But also like I don't know, like I don't think Lego pieces get like less sturdy over time. I think the plastic gets worse over time, unless I'm wrong. The Lego game currency. Yes, thank you. The clear studs, the studs. So like, if you're doing John Wick 3 in Lego, and for all the blood spatter, are you using clear red studs? And also aka, as Terumo said, the Lego game currency. Are you using clear studs, like clear red studs for blood spatter effects, or are you going in there and like adding digital blood spray, or even like putting like fake blood on the actual Lego characters, or do you just eschew um, like blood at all and keep it more, try to keep the kind of kid friendly aspect of a Lego of a Lego set, you know? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. I'm fine with those, but I'm also fine with the use of clay. Although I've seen other ways to make Jello or clay material. Yeah, so like, because I know like using like red clay is the other thing too, or like Jello. But like so you would so if you were remaking John Wick 3 in Lego, if you were making Lego John Wick 3, you would consider using clay or like red Jello or food coloring for blood for like the bloodied bodies, and you just wouldn't like keep it pure and maybe even like eschew the blood altogether. You know, just like keep like this weird kid friendly version of John Wick that exists as a Lego set from an alternate dimension where Lego got the rights to John Wick, to John Wick 3 only, the third movie only. All right, so here's the thing. Okay, so now while you think about that, I'm gonna try to figure out how I'm gonna approach this guy. Because this is a tough one. Because I kind of want to do more gray. Because the other one was more of a kind of... green was a prominent color in that last one. Or at least green was a more standout color next to that car. And I tried to include green in the shadows that I used. But it still came out as more gray. I'm thinking with this one... Digital effects are also fine with me. I also don't have enough practice with those to make them convincing enough. Why not use pig blood? I don't know, Terumo. How good is pig blood? Like, what are we talking? Like, how much pig blood are we talking about here? Because, like pig blood isn't it kind of stinky? Like regular human blood. Also, why not use cow's blood? Actually, Terumo, can we get more blood from pigs or cows? Like, do you think in Carrie, when they dumped that pig blood on her, do you think it's because it was easier to get a hold of pig blood? Using Lego for more violent production is always a joy to watch because the juxtaposition of these kids' toys being used for reenact acts of violence. You know what's interesting? I think the first really violent Lego thing I've seen, like the first actual like violent Lego film I saw was this Lego Captain America. Like when the original movie came out, when First Avenger came out, somebody made their own Lego Captain America fight scene, and the funny thing is, I think at the time I hadn't seen the movie, so I just assumed this fight scene was out of the movie, and then like I thought like, wow, this is real, like, because it was super violent. Like I remember that's the first thing I thought about was just like, whoa, does Captain America like behead Nazis with a shield in this movie like this? Does he run around with a gun? Then I got around to watching the movie. He's like, that never happened. What the hell? But no, I think it is funny when you see it. I think it's funnier if you see, because I don't know. For me, I don't know what I would consider more funny. If still thinking about what to do with this background. I think I'll make this actually more gray. Maybe make it more of a like earth tone brown. But But no, what I was saying though is I wonder if it's funnier when you juxtapose like kids stuff with adult stuff. If it's funnier if you make it if it's fun if it's like if it's funnier to like go all the way and add like all the blood and everything, or if it's funnier to keep it within the realm of the toy and like especially with like Lego, like have it seem like a child is recreating it and have it be kid friendly but still the same violence but having like guns say like it makes me think of the movie Bugsy like lol Lego Nazis. Yes. Because it makes me there's a movie that came out in like the 70s. I think it's the 70s. It's called Bugsy Malone. Not to be confused with the boring Warren Beatty um, uh, mobster movie Bugsy. But there's a movie called Bugsy Malone, and it has like Scott Baio and like a still young Jodie Foster in it. And essentially the movie is like it's a movie where like these it's a bunch of it's a gangster movie like 1930s 1920s style gangster like prohibition era gangster movie. It is a gangster movie with an entire children's cast. It's a big Hollywood movie, but but the thing is like they're all gangsters, but and they all have Tommy guns, but the Tommy guns shoot whipped cream. So all these kids are running around, get like talking and acting like gangsters, like from the 1930s and 1920s, and their guns shoot whipped cream. So it's like this. It's got the same deal of like dialogue. It's fun. It's very funny. How do you feel about custom Lego minifigures and custom printed pieces for minifigures? I think those are fine. I mean, if you're I think like depending on what you're doing, I think they're fine. Like if you need to make like a specific minifig for a specific, actually Saber is actually. Would you say it's more common for people to use custom printed minifigs for the kind of production you're doing in a brick film? Would you say? I'm just gonna lay down some flats here first. Because me personally, if I were to do brick film, um, and I was doing something that wasn't like using Avengers action figures or something, um, or like the event, like if I wasn't using like a pre-existing set, or like specifically with like minifigures, I would definitely like consider. I would definitely go for like either try to cobble together the way the figures look with the existing stuff that I have, or I would definitely consider like um, custom ordering minifigs to like fit my characters. Actually, here's a question, Saber. Um, am I wrong? But can you? But doesn't Lego.com have like a custom minifig option? Can't you like build your own minifigure and have it like delivered to you? Because I feel like that's something you can do. Like, can't you go to like a Lego store and like cut and like custom build your own minifig? I actually got a set of water slide decals to make a custom clone from EA's Battlefront. Oh, nice. Yeah, so like I'm thinking because I feel like how some shoe companies on their website like and they'll have like an option to customize your own shoe or whatever. Like I think Converse has like you can make your own custom shoe. Like I'm sure Lego has something in that way, right? Like they have to at this point in the game, in the meta, they should definitely have like they should definitely have like a thing for that by now, right? I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm gonna use some water to pull it upward. You can go to their site and get basic pieces. What if it is a copyright they don't got? Okay, well, maybe you could make a knockoff version of it. Okay, well, let's say this. Let's say you want to do Lego Shrek. If you can get somebody to 3D print you a Shrek head for like a Lego to make like Lego Shrek, would you do that? Like, I'm sure you would do that. Like, there's no reason not to like get like, if you got a guy who has a 3D printer, or you know somebody on Fiverr or something who can 3D print shit, and you ask them like, hey, can you 3D print a Shrek head so I can recreate Lego Shrek, or I can participate in Shrek 2 or Shrek 3 Reanimated. I need you to do this. I'm sure, like, I would do it. I've talked about it on Danjan's episode, Big Fellas, but there's also a website that basically is the eBay of Lego. Oh yeah, that's right. By the way, I should let you know. Hold on. And there's other sites where people make their own custom decals for minifigs. Cool. So, I should let you know, Saber. Because I talked about it with Tav, and I think I talked about it on one of the streams recently. About your episode, about the Big Fellas episode of Danjan. Your and Danjan's voices are kind of similar at certain points. So he would talk, and then you would talk, and I wouldn't know who was talking until I heard your very distinct laughter. Like, oh, okay, that's Saber laughing in the background. So now Danjan is talking, because there are moments where both of you guys sound alike in the audio, and I got confused a few times. But overall, like I told Tav, like it was a great episode. So. A lot of insight there. Especially in like regards to like your guys's knowledge on animating and whatnot. I think the thing that really came out the most, Saber, was the fact that you've been like this brick filmer all along, and you have all this like Lego knowledge stuffed into like the back of your brain this entire time, and it's just like, I can't believe Saber's been holding out all this like bricks, like all this like Lego stuff for so long. But then again, it's not like you've never really had like a chance to like whip out your like use it like, you know, in like in a conversation. So yeah, I feel like this is like the year where like brick filmer Saber comes out. There we go. That's for the first time I heard his voice. He sounded like me. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so I hate to cut this short because I do. Unfortunately, it is during the week, and my YouTube streams are usually around an hour because I go to work during the week. Unfortunately, sometimes I wish. Hold on. I want to straighten this out a little bit more. There we go. So, like, I really wish sometimes that, like, I didn't have a night job and I could just stream in the evenings after I get off work and then go to bed. But until I kind of figure out a more superior sleep schedule, because sometimes I think about, like, maybe coming home after work, streaming in the morning, and then going to bed around midday, and then waking up in the afternoon. Or not afternoon, waking up at night, like I used to do, but I don't know, it really takes away time from seeing my loved ones at home, so. And it also makes me feel bad because then I have to make my wife cook all the time. Like, it's a major bummer on my significant other, because, like, she has to get off work and she has to essentially come home to cook, and then if I'm up in the morning, I have to. Essentially, I would have to make everything ahead and then like just let it rot in the fridge, and then have her reheat it at night, which is a super bummer. I would not like to live that way. But regardless, I'm gonna cut it off here. So we got Lyman done. We're now in this most beautiful picture of John I've ever drawn in my life. I hate the fact that how attractive and handsome I made John, but I'm really proud of him. This is like some Tom of Finland shit right here. Oh, that was the same thing when I first befriended Kisaragi. Huh. You know, before I go, I gotta touch on this. I've met Kisaragi and you in person, and I've heard their voices. For some reason, I cannot. I feel like that's interesting. You think that you and Kisaragi sound alike because I've listened to both of you guys. Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard you were in Minnesota. I think because I asked Tev, like, man, where's Saber been? I feel like he's. I haven't seen him around on the streams in the chat in a while. But yeah, he did tell me you were on a trip to Minnesota or something. I just thought maybe your internet was super janked up or something. You couldn't participate. But no. To finish off what I was saying, before I go, yeah. So like, it's weird that I thought that I don't hear similarities in your guys' voices, but I mean, they're your voices, so I mean, I'm sure you probably hear a similarity between you guys, but I feel like you and Kisaragi have different voices. I wouldn't go as far as to say that you guys sound like alike in any way, but anyways. But yeah, so I'm going to cut it off here. I'm just going to thank everyone who showed up. Like to thank, I guess, Tarumo and Saber in the chat for showing up. It's good to see Saber again. Get his insights on brick film and the struggles of brick filming, as well as the world of Lego building and the illegal Lego building. And I guess you know what, I think I usually stream on and off during the week, but most likely to kind of keep this going, I'll probably do it tomorrow again. So yeah, internet was jank. We were also close to Canada, so yeah, fair enough. So most likely I'll probably stream tomorrow night, same time, around 7 o'clock. So it's usually the time, like the little 1 hour I have to do things. So, so yeah, so 7 o'clock around this time tomorrow on YouTube again. And I'll see you. I'll see you again. So thanks for checking in, and I'll see you when I'll see you.